Hey, Rob, I'm just back from WWDC.
Awesome. So I assume you're absolutely exhausted.
I'm a little tired. It was interesting though because this year I think I hit my peak fatigue day was probably Wednesday, and I didn't have probably that was a combination of things. That was the day that I spent a lot of time meeting with developers, as well as uh, it, most of the activity at WWDC this year was front loaded. So it was pretty quiet after Wednesday.
Nice. So I mean, the keynote was obviously on the first day on Monday. And I just told you this before we started recording. I ended up watching the wrong keynote for about 15 minutes.
How did you manage to do that?
So, so I left work. I got home. I maybe had 10 minutes before the keynote started. So, I grabbed myself a drink. I grabbed the Switch because I was going to play Mario Kart while I was watching it. I turned on the Apple TV in the spare room because that's where the Apple TV is. Obviously, I can't watch the keynote any other way. Opened up the Apple Events app and just pressed play. So I watched there's a video about people with accessibility issues using iPads, and then Tim Cook's talking about Apple stores and stuff like that. And then he said tvOS, and we're introducing the TV app.
And you're like, what?
And I kind of stopped and went, this is September's keynote. This isn't today's one.
Oh no! So it wasn't actually was it just that the icon wasn't up on Apple TV yet, or did you just click the wrong thing?
No, because I don't use the Apple TV much anymore because it's not in my living room.
Oh, you hadn't updated.
The events app needed updating before it would show today's the Monday's live stream.
Yeah, I heard about that because Stephen Hackett was trying to use a third generation Apple TV to run it in his hotel room, and was having trouble getting that app updated. So we ended up doing like HDMI out from a laptop to a hotel TV to watch with 6 or 7 people in the room.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it's probably kind of telling for the first 15 minutes of any of their keynotes that I didn't notice that I was watching the wrong one.
Yeah, they all start very similarly, although this year didn't have one of those videos. There was very little in terms of demos. Well, there weren't a lot of third-party demos or videos in this one because there was so much stuff announced that they moved very, very rapidly and skipped a lot of that sort of thing.
Yeah, from what I could tell from Twitter, I basically missed like the intro thing, and then I missed like the Amazon Prime announcement,
Right.
and then when I got back into it, they were started talking about the iMacs and MacBooks and stuff like that. So I didn't miss too much, but I did feel like a bit of a moron that I'd watched the wrong one.
Yeah, the Apple TV thing wasn't much to miss because it really was just an announcement. It had nothing to do with tvOS, even though that's what they the umbrella they put it under. All it really is that there's an Amazon Prime video app coming, which is great, but it's not really much of an announcement. It was undoubtedly something that they negotiated with Amazon to get them on the platform.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm kind of skipping ahead, but it seems to me like they've announced an Amazon Prime on the Apple TV now, and they spoke about their new video format that they're using. I'm pretty much convinced at this point that this means a 4K Apple TV is coming, in September.
Yeah,
Amazon Prime has a lot of 4K content. Obviously, Netflix has a bunch of 4K content as well, and presumably iTunes will get a bunch of that as well.
Yep. And YouTube has a fair amount of 4K now too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I almost forgot about YouTube, but yeah, so there's a lot of a lot of 4K stuff around, and a lot of the other competing boxes do 4K already. So I would expect we'll see one in September.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking seriously now about getting that Hulu package that I think is only in North America. I'm not entirely sure, but it's about 50 channels. But that combined with Netflix, combined with Amazon Prime, may be enough for me. But,
yeah, we're still a bit short in the UK on streaming services, or kind of like monthly bundles like that. I mean, we've got Prime, we've got Netflix. There's one from Sky where you can pay for like movies, or you can pay for TV shows as a monthly subscription. But we don't have a lot else. I don't think we have access to Hulu over here. We don't have a lot of the cable kind of subscriptions where you can get some of the streaming stuff if you subscribe to cable. So So yeah, we're kind of a bit short on those. So which is why I'm a little bit more invested in Amazon Prime than maybe people in the US would be.
Yeah, the nice thing about the Hulu package is that you have access to their back catalog of stuff, but you also the 50 channels is 50 live channels. So just like I guess it's YouTube announced they have like a 40 channel package, and that's live TV too. And both of them do some sort of online DVR type of setup.
Right.
So I don't know. That's something I have to look into this summer. I haven't really gotten around to figuring out if that's something that I want to do, but that's a totally different topic than WWDC, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so as a little bit. But before we get into anything else from the keynote, tell me the series of events that ended up with me with about 50 notifications when I woke up in the morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what night it was. It was maybe Wednesday night in California. We had gone to there was a benefit for App Camp for Girls, and we came back to the hotel, and there were maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 of us sitting around in the hotel lobby bar just hanging out, talking, and the topic of Twitter and replies came up and how they're kind of messed up and how they work and how Twitter has kind of screwed them up. And all of a sudden, we were sitting with CGP Grey, and he got very, very quiet. And you could tell he was thinking about something. And he had this, he just went into like a CGP Grey trance and was thinking about the issue and trying to understand exactly, because I think it was Stephen Hackett who was explaining how it works. And he was thinking about how it works and whether there was a way to snowball Twitter and break it. And we were trying to basically create a Twitter Ponzi scheme or chain letter. And trying to figure out how if you could sustain it long enough and grow it big enough that it would, because especially since now that those at replies don't count as towards the message and they're in the header, that it might be able to snowball. It turns out you can't, because there is an absolute limit, a cap on the number of people. So it did die out. I think the limit is 50.
Right.
So we ended up just destroying each other's at replies for the evening. And then there was another wave pretty much when the UK and the rest of Europe woke up, because this was probably like, I don't know, 3 a.m. your time or something like that.
Yeah, I think I woke up to about, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 notifications, something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, I immediately jumped on and sent a reply just to be, to be part of it.
Yeah. No, we were sitting around trying to figure out what would be the perfect message that would entice people to reply. And part of the problem was that the original message ends up getting buried too, right? So it's both that there's an absolute cap, and then at some point, someone who has no idea, doesn't know any of the people who started this, gets the message and just figures it's some kind of spam and doesn't see the original message trying to entice them into doing the same thing.
Yeah, I had to open up the official Twitter app to be able to see the replies as well. I think I'm not sure what the API was serving up for Tweetbot, but it wasn't displaying. Sometimes it would display all the usernames, but not the actual message that was sent. And sometimes I'd see the message without any username, so I'm not really sure what was going on there.
Yeah, it was a little straight. Tweetbot handles it a little in a little, kind of a crazy way, and the problem with Tweetbot is you end up seeing at least a big chunk, maybe the 50 at replies in the body of the message, and that's why it kind of destroys the replies section, because it's just giant tweets full of usernames that many of which you probably don't know who the people are even at all. But it was kind of fun, and it was, we were all trying to see if we could get banned from Twitter for breaking the service. And at least, the good news is they've thought of these things, and they've thought about people trying to create evil genius plans to snowball Twitter spiral it into, Twitter hell, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it was interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. So that was fun. That was one of our fun nights, after going out. And that was the last night where there was a lot going on. It was like, I think I said, it was, kind of front end loaded. There was, the talk show was Tuesday, and the Relay FM had something on Monday, which was a lot of fun. It was a nice event at the Textile Museum, which I never saw the textiles. Because you couldn't take your drinks into there was like a party room, and it was connected to the museum, but you couldn't take your drinks into the main museum. And I didn't appeal to me. So I stayed in the party room.
Cool. So I guess we'll jump back into the keynote a little bit. So we got new Mac, but new's probably a bit of a stretch. They updated the MacBooks to the Kaby Lake processors, and there's a few price changes. They're actually £50 more expensive in the UK now, but they obviously didn't announce that.
Right. Yeah, and they also updated the iMac with the iMac Pro, it's kind of a beast of a machine. You can get an iMac Pro starting at $5,000, which is crazy, and I can't imagine what the top end one costs. I haven't even looked, but they are pretty cool. And they're what was interesting is they're designed in part to help create VR content. So for developers doing VR games and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because they had somebody from Industrial Light and Magic do that little demo with, Darth Vader and a bunch of Star Destroyer and some X-Wings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're using a Vive for that, and I guess if you have a developer account, you can get a Vive for I think $100 off.
Okay.
They also have like a box that they've created, which you can put. It's an external Thunderbolt box for GPUs. So if you want more GPU horsepower, if you're a developer, you can also. That's another thing you can get if you have a developer account. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's definitely feels like a stopgap for the Mac Pro.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the difference. It was interesting to see this machine and wonder what the Mac Pro could possibly be, because this really has some serious horsepower behind it. And I think the difference will be, customization, being able to put your own GPUs into it and be able to put in multiple drives and that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not for me.
No,
I can't
me either.
imagine you're not going to be buying one either. Do you not need 18 cores?
No. I do want that black keyboard though, and I guess you can only get it with the Pro, with the iMac Pro.
It has been confirmed this week. I don't remember who confirmed it, but those are only going to be available with the iMac Pro.
Right.
Which is devastating because I really want that keyboard.
That's what eBay's for, Rob. I'm sure they'll show up.
Oh, no thanks.
Did you?
I mean, they're already £120 or whatever they cost for the Magic Keyboard. I can't even imagine what the eBay prices would be like.
You can get a white one with the full. It has the full number pad and everything, and it's got more room for the arrow keys and all that sort of thing. I really like that. I like a full keyboard myself.
Oh, I use a full. I have one of the the wired, full size Apple keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's fine. I'm not going to be replacing it anytime soon. But if I could get a black wireless one, that would be nice.
Right. No, it would be really nice. Did you see the WWDC swag this year with they were like black Levi jackets and all the pins?
Yeah, they looked really, really nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And the pins were fun because they were handing them out at different events. So there was a set you got when you checked in. But then there were different things, like they had different ones you would get for going to the bash, different ones for going to like the accessibility lab. I'm trying to think what else. There were a few other, things you could attend where you would get a special badge.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I remember actually in 2012 when the Olympics were going on in London, and I went to the Oxford Street Apple store, or the Regent Street Apple store, one of the big ones in London. I don't remember which one.
Right.
And they were handing out little, like the Union Jack flagged little pins, and I managed to get one of those. I don't know if it's something they've done for other events and things like that. I know there's probably a few floating around on eBay from various events over the years, but yeah, it looked really fun that they were kind of, you got them for attending, and then there were a bunch of others that you could collect for going around different places.
Right, and they had if they gave you a pin for your country too. So Federico got an Italian flag pin, and then the normal, and then the sets that they handed out, actually they were different for each person. They were kind of scrambled, so you got you got your own set.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he got a Happy Mac that he traded with Syracuse for a metal pin. I saw the transaction go down at a coffee shop.
Did Stephen get a Happy Mac though? That's all that's important.
I don't think so.
Oh no,
I don't think so. Well, I mean, he didn't have a ticket, so I don't
no,
know.
no. I know. I assume he was probably trying to get one from somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. I have not seen. I don't know if he did or not. I didn't see it, so maybe not.
Cool. I guess the last thing. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on with the iPad. They've got kind of drag and drop is the big one now.
Yeah, yeah. It was pretty exciting. It's neat what they're doing. I've tried it. I've got it on my iPad already, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody because it's super buggy right now. I mean, it's usable, but there are apps that crash, and there's certain apps. I've only had a couple apps that don't work at all, but I've had other apps that just crash when you try to do something simple. I cannot paste an App Store URL into Tweetbot or Drafts without crashing them, which I'm sure has nothing to do. That's not a knock against those apps, but it's just, when you have a new beta OS, that kind of thing happens. So it's not probably really a good idea. The reason I did it was because I have a new iPad Pro 12.9 on order, and it'll come on Thursday. So I'll have that pretty soon, and I'll probably keep that on 10 for a while, and then experiment with the old one with iOS 11. It's neat. The thing is it's a little bit of a perspective shift. It takes a little getting used to. It doesn't take a long time to get used to, but it's more of a two-handed OS now for at least on the iPads.
Right.
And that, the iPad really was in some respects a blown up iPhone for many years, and it was primarily just a one finger dragging and poking type of interface. And now you can do things like take an icon and hold it with one finger while you navigate to where you want it to go with your other hand and drop it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it looks really nice. And I think I saw James Thompson, developer of PCalc, he'd managed to get a demo or a prototype together with PCalc doing drag and drop in and drag and drop out. So it looks like it's fairly easy for developers to get this done in their apps.
It is for certain things like this. You don't have to do anything, for instance, for dragging text, like text fields and search boxes. Anything that takes text is already supported. So even if you haven't done anything to your app, it'll work, which is nice. And then the basic functionality for moving around files by drag and drop is fairly simple to implement. But if you really want to have all the potential features that are available, it's a little more involved. But I expect it's going to be adopted pretty quickly by especially document-based apps.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess the last thing they announced, sort of half-heartedly announced, was the HomePod.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's one of those things where they felt pressured to announce something with all that's been going on with the Echo and with Google Home, and it's not really ready, is my guess. Because as I understand it from the various press people who got to see it or listen to it, no one was allowed to touch it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
And the demo units that were there was a hands-on area this year that was open to not only to press right after the event, but it was also open for about 4 hours on Monday afternoon to developers. So a lot of developers have tried the new iPads, which is kind of nice. So you got a lot. I got to hear a lot about what it's like from them. And the HomePods were there, but they weren't plugged in, and you couldn't touch them. So, and I think from what I understand, they're kind of chunky. I've heard them compared a little bit in size, that they're a little bigger than like a Sonos Play One, which is their single speaker solution. I think they're roughly the height of an iPad Mini. I think it's a little bit like a cylindrical iPad Mini.
Right.
Might be a little shorter than that, because I think they're 7 inches tall, something along those lines. But anyway, they announced it, and it was all very music focused. And then at the end, it was kind of like, oh yeah, and it does the Siri stuff too, which was almost it was like an afterthought almost.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I think obviously they said it's not coming out until like the end of the year,
right?
I feel like as it is now, I can't really see why anyone would want to buy it at the price it is. Like, especially when you compare it to, you know, an Echo or a Google Home or something like that. Like, from what they've announced right now, I'm not sure I see the appeal, because there hasn't really been any. I mean, the only unique feature is the fact that it works with Apple Music, which, you know, you can do with Sonos anyway, right? I'm pretty sure you can do Apple Music there.
You can. They have an integration. I think what's different about it is that it's not meant to be an Echo replacement. I mean, I think it's positioned a little different as a music lover's device. That its primary purpose is music, whereas the Echo does music, but it's really your assistant. I think they're on purpose de-emphasizing the Siri stuff. That might change over time because, you know, Siri needs some work to really be a little more robust and to match something like the Echo. But I think they're really trying to position it like a smart Sonos in a way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I say, I think we'll probably see more, presumably the September event or something like that. You know, they might go into a bit more depth as to actually why would you want to spend this much money on this specific speaker over, you know, a Sonos or an Echo or, you know, Google Home or whatever else might be on the market by that point.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do too is I think it probably goes after the Sonos more than it goes after the Echo, in that they're trying to replace the stereo system for people, right? Because it's supposed to be spatially aware and fill your room with sound in a way that that an Echo won't necessarily do, because it doesn't have the same awareness of the dimensions and layout of a room. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm not sold on it that it's something that I would buy, but I could see having it down here at my desk while I'm working, you know. But it is. You're right. It's awfully expensive for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, I mean, I think that was probably it that we were going to cover now. Yep. You know, I think that there's plenty of other podcasts that have, you know, gone into the nitty gritty detail of software and you know, some more of the hardware stuff. So yeah, we should probably move on from. I'm sure. I mean, we could sit here and talk about it for hours, but we probably shouldn't.
Right. So you told me that you got a new wallet recently. I guess we were going to talk about this a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't get around to it. You were looking for like a slim, minimalistic type wallet. Did you end up finding something?
Yeah. So I mean, I tweeted. I guess it was probably a Saturday night, and just said, you know, what does everybody recommend for slim wallets? Because I kind of wanted something that was, you know, I've just got a standard normal, or I did have a standard like normal wallet, and I just wanted something a bit slimmer. People have a lot of opinions on slim wallets. I don't think I've ever had as many replies to a tweet as I did for that one. And I actually ended up ordering two. I ordered one, which was the 3 AM slim wallet, which has two sections for cards. So the cards will either come out the bottom of it or the top, which was kind of interesting. And then Ian Broom was kind enough to send me a video of his Husk one, which was the one I'm actually using now, because I wanted to see it. And he sent me a nice sort of 30-second video showing me all the different parts of it. And I couldn't cancel the 3 AM one by the time I'd ordered the Husk one, so I just ended up with both. But I am now using the Husk one, which I bought in the red.
Okay, yeah, I ended up buying the Husk too after seeing your thread. And I like it a lot. I had one that's very similar in that it had a core. It came with like a core card, which was you could get in either stainless steel or wood, and then an elastic that wrapped around it. And then the cards would go on either side of this core piece. And then the elastic eventually just kind of wore out. So I was in the market for a new one. And this one is similar in that it's kind of it's mostly an elastic that wraps around tightly around your cards and your cash, but it also has this little pull tab which yanks up the loop at the bottom of the cards, which helps get the cards out, which I really like.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, I've got, at this point, I've got maybe like 7 or 8 cards in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, according to the website, it will hold up to 10, or I think it's up to 10. I think 10 might be a bit of a stretch. I feel like I'm pushing the limits at 8. But yeah, it's pretty great. Like, it's got a little pocket in the back as well.
Right. You put like a key in there or something.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm using it for, is to just have my house key in there. So I could just kind of grab the wallet and, I don't have to remember keys and stuff like that.
I should do that too, because I never carry my house keys, because there's almost always somebody at home, but I've been working from home more lately, so maybe I should have it. I should probably carry keys with me.
Yeah, and I was a bit worried at first because it's not quite big enough for a standard house key. Like the top of the key will stick out a little bit.
Right.
But it's pretty tight in there, especially with say 7 or 8 cards that I'm carrying around. And these slim wallets are pretty cheap as well. Like I paid £10 for the Husk one, and then £7 for the other one that I tried.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, because I think I paid $16 or $17 for mine.
Yeah, they've definitely got a lot cheaper than they were like a couple of years ago, I think, just because there's a lot more companies making them.
Right, and at that price, I mean, they don't have to last more than a few years, or I mean, they don't even have to last a few years. Most people could afford just buying one every year if they needed it. I mean, that said, I think it seems like it's pretty well constructed and it should last a while.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I didn't originally order the Husk was because there was a few reviews, and I know it's my own fault for reading the reviews. But there were quite a few reviews that said, "Oh, I've had it 2 months and it's fallen apart already." But then, Ian Broom said, "Well, I've had it for a year and a half or something, and it's been great." So I was like, "Well, I more trust somebody I actually know,
right,
than some random person on Amazon who's probably just angry because they got they got a bad one."
Right.
Though they'd be quite within their rights to send back and get a replacement, but they'd rather just moan on Amazon.
Right. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see and revisit it months down the road to see how they've held up. But I mean, I've had, like I said, a similar one for almost 3 years. I think that it took a very long time for that elastic to kind of start wearing out and start falling apart. So if it lasts anything close to that for $16, $17, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, absolutely, same for me.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the Switch, because you're like full on with the Switch now.
Yeah, I finally got one.
Yeah. So did you end up finding the blue and red one?
I did. So I'd for various reasons, I'd waited to get one until now. And then when I'd actually decided to get one, all the delivery dates were like 4 weeks out. I had a pre-order from Nintendo, which was going to ship, like I say, 4 weeks. Amazon didn't have any in stock. I couldn't even pre-order on Amazon.
Yeah.
I could get black one, or the grey one, but I couldn't get the red and blue one anywhere. So I started, and there's a bunch of these stock checker sites that generally do it for iPhones and consoles and stuff.
Right.
And I was watching for the red and blue stock in Argos, which is it's a store, but you basically just order from the catalog. They don't have any actual merchandise out in the store.
Right.
And we have these all over. It's really big kind of chain of stores in the UK. And I saw that there was one in London, in an Argos in London. So I went on, I looked, and I was like, yeah, I can get to that by tube because I was already going to London anyway. Mm-hmm. It was 20-30 minutes out or something. So I paid for it online, ordered it, went and picked it up the next day when I was in London. So yeah, I got really lucky. It was literally only a few days between deciding to get one and actually having it in my hand.
Oh, nice. So what games did you end up getting?
So I only bought Mario Kart. I actually bought Mario Kart before I had the Switch, because Tesco were doing a deal for Mario Kart, where I got £5-6 off or something. So I've just got that right now. I lasted a whole hour before I bought a Pro controller.
I think probably they were giving you a deal so that you could afford for the bag to take it home in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they give me £5 off, and then they get you with the bags.
They do.
So
they do.
That's how they get you.
They make you buy £5 worth of bags, which would be a lot of bags.
It would be a lot of bags. But of course, with every Nintendo console, the accessories is where they get you. The Pro controller is £65,
right,
which is at least £20 more expensive than an Xbox or a PlayStation 4 controller.
Yeah.
But me and Jess were playing Mario Kart with just a single Joy-Con each, and that they're really just not big enough for extended periods of play.
Right. Yeah, I've got the Pro controller and I really like it. I took my Switch with me to WWDC, hoping to maybe play it a little bit there, and was just too busy. Didn't get around to it. I did play it on the airplane out there a little bit, but probably should have just left it at home at the end of the day. But I don't know. I've been enjoying it. I like Mario Kart a lot. I like Zelda a lot. Those are the two main things I've been playing. Oh, I guess Shovel Knight is the other thing I've been playing. Did you pick that one up?
Not yet.
Oh, it's really fun. It's got all. It's basically the full version with all the DLC that's come out over the years.
Yeah, no, I haven't got it yet. I'm still kind of just playing a lot of Mario Kart because I didn't have a Wii U. I've never played Mario Kart 8. So I'm still like really enjoying just going through and getting 3 stars and doing the time trials and stuff like that to unlock a small amount of stuff that's actually available to unlock on the Switch version, because they kind of unlocked everything by default.
Right. Yeah, that's
but
true.
it's still a lot of fun to play that. So I'll pick up Zelda at some point. I mean, it's on Prime now. I can pretty much pick it up anywhere if I need to.
Yeah, you got to get it before the DLC comes out.
Yeah, when does the DLC come out?
I think in July, and you can get your Tingle suit then.
Right. Yeah, I should keep an eye out for a deal on the season pass as well. And then of course Splatoon 2 comes out in July as well, so I really want to get that.
Right.
Because I've pre-ordered the Splatoon Pro controller and the Splatoon Joy-Cons as well.
Oh, okay. Just wait till Tuesday, and Tuesday there'll be a big Nintendo Direct that's coming out as part of E3, and I'm sure that they're going to announce all sorts of other games that are coming between now and the end of the year, and even into next year.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, because most of the really big games have already been announced, or we have dates on a lot of this stuff, like Splatoon, and I'm sure we'll see more Mario Odyssey footage, I would think, which is December release, I believe. But I think we'll also see more indie games, I would think.
Yeah, I did actually see there were apparently the leaked release date for Mario Odyssey is November 17th.
Oh.
That popped up on my Google Now news this morning. So yeah, it looks like it'll be coming out a little bit earlier than we first thought.
Yeah, that makes sense, because that's like then it'll be pre Black Friday, and they can maybe bundle it with the system and sell a ton of them for the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like looking at how hard it was for me to get the red and blue Switch.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody wanting a Switch for literally in the next 6 months needs to start thinking about that now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's probably going to hit like November, and if you're trying to get one of these for Christmas, you're not going to get one.
Yeah, I think that definitely is a risk. What's interesting about the red and blue too is that I don't think it photographs very well, because when I finally saw one in person, when I was I saw Federico's at WWDC. And it looks really nice in person. I don't think it looks nearly as nice in the promotional shots.
This was absolutely what convinced me. My original plan was to get the grey one, because I was like you. I wasn't really convinced of the red and blue. I was like, yeah, it looks fine, I guess. But actually, both of them look significantly better in person. The grey is actually a really nice. It just looks really nice on the Joy-Cons, and then, as you say, the red and blue is actually really, really bright.
Yes, yeah, it's much brighter than it shows in the pictures. And the one that I want, there's like a neon yellow one coming out, I think, too, at some point soon.
Yeah, there is. There's a neon pair that you can buy, so they're both yellow.
Right.
And then of course there's the Splatoon ones, which are neon green and pink.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know how many Joy-Cons you're supposed to buy as one single person. But I'm hoping I'll probably just stick with 2 pairs.
Yeah, I've only got 1 pair, so I could probably use another just because I have that rechargeable dock type thing that you put them in, and you can then it's configured a little bit more like a like a Pro controller. So if I have the one that came with it, which isn't rechargeable. So slide those into those 2 things, then you've got effectively 2 Pro controllers. And I have a Pro controller, so you have basically what you need for 3 people to play something.
Yeah, I kind of just really I don't need to get like another Pro controller or all the other Joy-Cons really, but I really want them.
Yeah.
And that of course will give me, like, as you say, like once I've put the Joy-Cons in the holders, because obviously I've got the one that it comes with, and I'll buy a charging one. That basically gives me like 4 like, honest to goodness, like, decent full-size controllers.
Right, because I'm with you. I don't think doing them by themselves is all that great. I mean, it's okay in a pinch, especially if you're traveling, like if you're on an airplane or something, and you don't want to bring all that stuff with you. You don't want to bring a Pro controller. You don't want to bring those holders. You can just use the little mini Joy-Cons if you're playing with somebody else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so, all right.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's probably about it for this week.
Yeah, I think so too.
Cool. Well, show notes will be at ruminatepodcast.com/45. I am on Twitter at RMLewisUK. John is on Twitter at John Voorhees, JOHNVOORHEES.
That is right.
And we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Okay, see you later, Rob.